Hey YouTube, Jeff Youmans again with the Youmans Information Security Report. Today is May 2nd, 2017, and here we go. Well, first news article up today. Northrop Grumman can apparently make stealth bombers, but they can't secure the W-2s of their employees. That's disheartening. Northrop Grumman sent a letter out to both the Attorney General of California as well as employees saying that their information has been compromised. If you don't know who Northrop Grumman is, they are a large government contractor. They do everything from obviously making aircraft to building software. Every intelligence community agency, every branch of the DoD, Northrop Grumman has their foot in there. That is no doubt. You go to any military base in this country or outside of this country, and I guarantee you can find a Northrop employee. That being said, just to give you the vastness of how big this is, they announced to their employees that, including their names, addresses, work email addresses, work phone numbers, social security numbers, employee identification numbers, wage and tax information, as well as any personal phone number, personal email address, or answer customized security questions that they may have given this W-2 portal, has been compromised. So, what high school did you go to? What's your mother's maiden name? Tell me they don't know that. And I'd be interested to see some of these wages that these people make. Maybe I'll head on over to the dark web later. I'm sure it's for sale over there. Again, security for a reason. Now this kind of comes on and looks bad for Northrop, but in reality what they did was they hired Equifax Workforce Solutions, which ran the tax portal for people to come and use. And that's what got attacked. It was user IDs that were legitimately used by fraudulent people. Now, the race is on. I mean, it's already past tax season this year, but I guarantee you the race was on to submit some W-2s and get the IRS to fraudulently give that information to a scammer. It's going to happen. This is one of those things that happens, and when it does, it has big ramifications for a lot of people. And this is why the IRS is taking their time giving refunds. It used to be, 3-4 days, you'd get your refund. Not anymore. It could be upwards of 2 weeks. And you know what? We should be patient with that 2 weeks because the IRS needs to do what they need to do. We're Americans and we want everything now. But we should give the IRS the room to verify information and the time needed to verify it. Because this is no joke. I'm telling you, if my tax refund disappeared, I'd go scream in the mirror, but that's all I could do. Because what am I going to do? Sue somebody? No. Am I going to go beat somebody up? No. Am I going to go get my money from somebody? No. It's gone. You're going to go scream in the mirror. Give the IRS their time to get this situation handled. Another point of this article is the CEO hack that a lot of people are seeing. And I can't verify exactly that this is what happened in Northrop, but people have been, hackers, have been going to chief financial officers masquerading as the CEO or the COO of an organization saying, hey, I need the credentials to get in here. Give me the admin credentials. And the CFO or the deputy CFO or the CFO's assistant goes, oh, the CEO needs information. Let me get it to him. And they get it to him and they're actually giving it to a hacker. And next thing you know, they have information. So CEO email addresses are being spoofed. They are being sent around with messages. Make sure you read, hover over the email. Make sure the email address is accurate. Make sure you understand who it's coming from and what it's going to. That's what we got for the news today. There's other stuff going on, but I took a long time talking about Northrop Grumman. Northrop Grumman is a great company, by the way. I know a lot of people that work there. They do solid government work. This is something that's going to happen. We need to pay attention to security, and we need to get in the forefront of it. Equifax, that's on you. All right? Take care, everybody. Hey, welcome to the second 5 minutes. Today, what I want to talk about is the age-old conundrum. Good versus evil. Skywalker versus Vader. Reagan versus Carter. Me versus that kid that kicked the crap out of me in the 4th grade. He was evil. Anyway. iOS versus Android. What side do you fall on? People fall on a lot of different sides. And I'll tell you why. They see it as big business trying to keep everything to themselves, and the openness and freedom of everything. And let me explain real quick. So iOS, or the Apple iPhone, is what's called a closed system. The hardware architecture is closed. Nobody knows what it exactly looks like. The software, the iOS itself, is closed. You don't know. You can't go in and fiddle around with it. You can't get it out and reverse engineer it. It's closed. It's got anti-tamper in there, and Apple controls everything very closely, to include their App Store, which we'll get into here in a minute. But Android, on the other hand, is very open. Is built on the Linux platform, which has been around since the late 80s, and essentially it's always been free. People can go in and change the source code if they want. They can adapt it to their own. Red Hat, SUSE, Mandrake, all of these companies took Linux and kind of made it their own. You might have heard a thing called Windows before, which was just a funny front end on Linux, so that matched another thing that ends with does. Anyway, the Linux or Android operating system is very configurable. Apple is not. Apple is very secure because of that closed architecture. Android is not. So from a security standpoint, wait a minute. What? Look, here's the deal. If your security person has an Apple, I want you to think of it, Android, like a firefighter running out of a burning house. If you see a firefighter running out of a burning house, you're going to run with him. I mean, that's just the way it is. Because if he's nervous, something bad's going down. I don't know any security people that have anything but an iPhone. And honestly, there's articles in the newspaper today where Android is coming shipped with malware. There's been malware in that app store forever and ever. People are downloading utilities and games and other things that are malware. They're infecting the phone. They're preventing the user from ever getting rid of it. It's burying itself so deep in the operating system that removal is almost impossible, and it's just infecting every part of your life. And then it's adding these malware will take your phone and add it to a botnet of other infected phones, and then use it to attack other things. That's not rumor. That's not speculation. That's fact. Look, I like openness just as much as the next guy, but is it worth my taxes not coming to me come February 15th? No, sir. We live in the 21st century. Security is paramount. If you're not checking and double checking, that's your fault, not my fault. Because there are people actively out there trying to make your phone into a botnet phone. It's just the way it is. If you're contemplating getting a smartphone, I highly encourage you to watch the video yesterday with due diligence. Come up with some ideas on what you want to ask the various makers, and then go to the store and ask relevant questions. What's more important to you, the openness of Android or the security of iOS? Hope this helps somebody. See you in the third 5 minutes here in a minute. Here's the third 5 minutes. So today what I'd like to briefly talk about are frameworks. I think I'm going to take the next month and really delve into one framework, and every other day or so I'll probably put a video together talking about some aspect of a framework. Now, what is a framework? Well, a framework is a law or regulation that is required to be met in order to operate in that environment. So let's give an example of a framework. HIPAA. If I am a clearinghouse, a health plan provider, or a health provider, I am required to follow the HIPAA framework. Is HIPAA just security? No. Is it just privacy? No. There's a lot of different things in there. Is the security rule and the privacy rule of HIPAA huge parts? Absolutely. NIST, National Institute of Standards Technology. That's the government framework. NIST puts out the 800 series publications. The 800 series publications cover security. Today, what I want to talk about is 800-30, or risk management. That publication really sets the stage for all of the other publications. And it gets as abstract or as detailed as you want. And we can get into that a little later. But the process and the flow of risk management is fairly standard. And it's going to be standard mostly across frameworks, but there's a few deviations that we'll talk about. NIST, the one I'm most familiar with, HIPAA's a close second, but their risk management framework includes a step-by-step process. The first step is system characterization. Characterize your hardware, your software, your system interfaces, your data information, the people that are using it, and the mission of that system. Label it out. It's not that hard. You'd be surprised how many people don't do this. Where's your system boundary? Is it an application, or is it a network of systems, or is it just one system? Get that boundary going and establish, this is what I'm responsible for. That's your accreditation boundary, what we used to call it back in the day. Now it's a system boundary. System functions. Lay out the functions. What is the code calling? What is the operating system doing? Is it a web server? Is it a database server? Is it what? Limit your scope of what you're doing to describe the specific system. System data criticality, the system data sensitivity. Those are very important. What's your availability level? What does it need to be? If you go offline from days to weeks, is that a big deal? If you go offline from hours to days, is that a big deal? If you go offline from seconds to minutes, is that a big deal? So you categorize your availability. You categorize the sensitivity, the confidentiality of your equipment. Is this public knowledge? Is this internal use only? Is this company confidential? The government has obviously top secret, secret, confidential, FOUO. But if you're in the corporate industry, and even in your personal lives, you should start doing this. How do you categorize that information? And again, the integrity. That confidentiality and availability, let's talk about the integrity, the trustworthiness, the certitude of that information. If it gets changed by somebody, how bad does it affect you? What's your tolerance on that? And we could talk about that in detail later. But that's what I mean by system categorization. Identify what your system does, what's the criticality of it, what's the availability need to be. Then you can go on to the next step, which is threat identification. Threat identification. Making sure you understand, based on all of the information that you categorized, what is the typical threats. Tomorrow, we'll get into step 3 with vulnerabilities, and then we'll go to control analysis, likelihood determination, impact analysis, those things. But for today, that's 5 minutes. Hope you enjoyed it. Keep watching.